What's up, guys? Welcome to another live session. Today is April 24th, 2020. I hope you guys are all safe and well. Today is our profit recap and next week market insight session. Before we get started, a few admin stuff like always. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. We choose a winner every week. So make sure you choose this video or Monday's video. Leave a nice comment. Make sure you're a subscriber, and potentially you can win one free month in the trading room. We usually randomly pick someone during the Friday session. So make sure you do that. Also, sign up for our Discord. That's the place to be, and I think that's where everyone is going to now. We're over, I think, 500 members now, which is awesome. So to join the Discord, it's completely free. There's a link to sign up in the video description. Fill it out. It's a quick little form, and you should get an invite link to join. Also, our trader Joe, he's gonna start doing one-on-one sessions. So if you're a beginner trader or you just want to get into Elliott wave analysis, Joe is the guy. And if you go into the Discord in the announcement section, you'll see the pricing and exactly how to get started. But basically, if you're interested in learning, it's 40 USD for half an hour, 60 USD for an hour. All you have to do is email support@forexlens.com and then just have one-on-one with Joe as your subject heading, and we'll get back to you. Or you can just get on Discord and message Joe if you have any questions. Another thing is we added two signal providers. We're always looking to improve, and we added an Ichimoku signals. A lot of people do like the Ichimoku system and the way those trades play out. So we vetted this guy. He's very solid. So we got him to join, and also Invictive FX, who's like an intraday / swing trader. So both are great providers, and they're there for you guys to take advantage of. So if you're a member, the join links for this is in the members chat, so make sure you check it out. And I think that, okay, one more thing, actually, April promo. So usually we have the promotion where if you refer 3 friends, you get a free month of service. But in April, and we have about 6 days left, so take advantage. In April, if you refer 2 people, you get that free month of service. So we made it a bit easier for you. So make sure you do that, and then just message either RP4X, Allison, or chat room admin, and they'll help you out. If you're on Discord already, so just sending in your pair recommendations and your questions. We will look at GJ. That's probably the first thing we'll look at right after gold. So without further ado, we'll get into how this week went. And you can't be invincible. I think we finally had our first down week. If I just go and show you the kind of winning streak we were on, and just the overall straight dominance for the past few weeks leading up to this week. And you can see a lot of greens here from the start of April. So we knew a week like this would come, and it was still a good week in terms of learning. A lot of things were learned and discussed, but it was a very fundamentally heavy week. So we did have a bit more losses than usual, which is fine, because as long as you're winning weeks, outgrow the losing weeks, you're profitable at the end of the day. So one major winning trade was our gold long. Very simple trade and analysis. We just popped up into the 4-hour range, and we just targeted from here to here. We did have a potential target of 1647. We just didn't get there. We ran into some resistance here, and that's where our kind of long trajectory kind of ended. But nonetheless, a nice 210 pip gain on this trade. Pretty solid for gold. And if we took this trade, just this trade this week, would have been solid. Yeah, nothing else to say now. I think gold will probably pay a visit back down to 1710, as it's kind of stuck in between this range, and this resistance has been pretty solid this year. The highest we went back in April was 1748. Since then, we've had 1, 2, and 3 failed attempts to go back to 1748. So I think shorts might be back on the table. GJ, so GJ was a trade I was pretty excited for, but a lot of the pairs this week have been doing deeper retraces than normal. Now, I tend to like my stop losses to be very tight. So if we look at the daily time frame to see why this trade was taken, you can see overall the kind of picture we were headed for. So we 2 weeks back in April, we had a short just off the break of this consolidation region, and we had a nice sell-off. So we were looking for that same kind of idea this week. We had a nice bearish closure, or just a big body bearish candle outside of this daily support over here, and I thought that was more than enough for us to go short. Now the R2R was actually, I think, 2.45 for this trade. It just looks extended right now because the price already went to our stop loss, but you can actually see the price action itself. Over here, it looked like we were ready to go lower, and then this thing just popped back immediately. Within an hour, we were almost in to our stop loss, just like that. So it was pretty crazy. It pulled back a couple of times, and then just pulled back into drawdown. It pulled back again, and then it just went off after pound fundamentals came up better than expected. So since then, this pair has just consolidated above that level in this kind of range. So I mean, I was kind of seeking setups this week, but a lot of them have been consolidating, and we'll talk about that. But GJ, again, what we had here of this breach of this level, we're having a similar opportunity here, but I'm going to be a bit reluctant to trade GJ until I know that it's going to start behaving normally again, because this is not normal for it to just push down and then a huge kind of spike back up and then a huge kind of spike back down. This was not during any news at all. The news didn't come until these set of candles here, but nonetheless, we take it on their chin. We like to be transparent, and if we do lose trades or have a down week, we will be as transparent as we can. It's not always going to be gloomy, but as long as the gloomy days outnumber, don't outnumber the good days, then we're good to go. So if we look at the current price action, it's very similar to the idea we had in the past. Again, a breach of this level should take it lower, and it did, but it got cut down here. And so if I'm taking shorts, and I think this was, who asked this? Paul, if I'm taking shorts Sunday or even Monday, I'd probably target just down here for my first target. And I'd probably still go on the 4-hour time frame. I know GJ can sometimes drop heavy into 4-hour time frames and then do deep retraces. But if we can get a 4-hour closure somewhere near support, that would be great. Because otherwise, if it does dig deep into the profits, so if it goes somewhere here, then it's not going to be worth taking, since the take profit's almost going to be reached. But if it's somewhere here, that'd be perfectly fine to take, and that's what we're looking for. So we had a pretty decent pullback, to the support we broke, and we were trying to reject it. But this candle was when the pound fundamentals came in, and we were out of the trade. So since then, this thing looked like it was going to go to the upside, and we did explore that possibility if we got a 4-hour closure above this level. We just never got it, so we stuck in and around this consolidation zone. So, I mean, in terms of the grand scheme of things, it's still a short. No way I'm thinking this reversing, especially with today's today's 4-hour candle looks very bearish. And so again, same criteria. We can see how strong this support has been for this past few weeks now. So if we do breach it, I do think we're going to go lower, but this time around it was just not in our cards for that play to happen. So the level, if you want the specific level that I drew up, 132.471, have that on your charts, and you can kind of study the price action in and around the area, wait for the breach, and then you can take a very similar setup to what we had at the beginning of the week. And we had a target, where did it go? We had a target somewhere down here as well, but the intraday target was here, and it was like a 2.45 R2R setup. So this could be probably on the table Sunday or Monday, but I'd be a bit careful if it does a deep push, because your R2R would probably be sliced in half. And then the other trade that we just took yesterday, Euro Aussie, again with a common theme of deep retraces. Now here's the actual signal itself. Stop loss 1.69645. You can see we actually got stopped out by maybe 12 pips, right? And last night I was up. I haven't actually slept yet. I stayed up all night just back testing that scalping strategy. But you can see that was our stop loss, right? And we had a huge downside potential. And while I was awake, I'm like, this thing is just being annoying. It's just deep. It's just doing a deep retrace for no reason. And so our first take profit, if you see, is 1.68720. Did actually get hit, right? We can see 1.68710 was hit. So we did get part of our trade idea in, and then my partial position got stopped out. But since those kind of pullbacks, it hasn't done much. It's resting at support, and so yeah, obviously my partial position got stopped out. So now I might be thinking of longs, as we're just showing reluctancy to go lower, even though the price action and the fundamentals are telling me short. So if you just go to the daily, you can see not much has changed. Right, you can see a significant sell-off we're in, and we've had periods of deep retraces. This is a pair that moves a lot per pip, and the reason why I don't make my stop losses or try to increase them is because we have a lot of new members, some veterans, but new members tend to have smaller accounts. They're more impulsive with their emotions, and they don't like to see a losing trade. They might not use risk management properly, and so for them, one losing trade or a few is the end of the world. For veterans, they know how it goes. It's a game of runs. Trading is a game of runs, right? So you can see, we've had a huge candle just last week. Many would think, a novice trader would think, oh, it's reversing, and then next thing you know, some consolidation, and then it drops 150 pips. We also had moments like this where you have huge candles to the upside, or even huge wicks to the upside before continuing down. It's just in the realms of price action. It's not always going to be a textbook higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. Sometimes you will have a significant sell-off with no retraces. Then you might have a creation of consolidation and creating a double top, and then you have a push down. So that's the case. Now, if you look how small this daily candle is, this is 1/3 of yesterday's daily candle. So this is nothing in terms of retrace. So, in all honesty, this setup is a 4.0 R2R, but if we didn't want to get stopped out or we wanted to make it better, our stop loss, we could have pushed it up here, 2.59. We could even push it up above this recent support, and it'd still be a 2.04. But because Euro Aussie moves so much per pip, for example, if you just measure this, stop loss, this is over 140 pip stop loss. Now, novice traders or people who don't use risk management, they can't take 140 pip loss. Even though we close 20 to 30% after 30 pips of drawdown, they probably wouldn't impose that into their trading. So that's why, I always have to make a business decision about which trades we cut short or where the stop loss is, because I have to take into account all types of traders. So I'm still bearish on this thing. I don't think this support's going to last. We might have a retrace, but in my long-term bias, at least from the daily time frame, it's still short. So next week, I'm going to be looking for shorts again. If you look back to the 4-hour time frame, we never really had a clean 4-hour closure below. And the reason why we entered yesterday is because we didn't really need to, because the past two candles have been significant enough that I think it was time to go lower. And especially with Aussie dollar gaining the way it was, that's why. So next week, all we're going to do is just move this over, wait for a bearish 4-hour candle closure down here, because we haven't been able to get it. We've been able to get wicks below this level, but no candle, none of the bodies can close down here bearish, and that's where we'll need to go short. Not really interested in the longs unless Aussie dollar makes a significant meltdown. And so that was a loss of 65 pips. Now we had a trade yesterday, Aussie dollar short. Now I called this short because of the simple price action was showing off 4-hour resistance here. Very clean, very simple, and I called the trade for short. Now I told everyone in the trade room that I would have to make a decision of whether to cut Aussie dollar short or pound Aussie, because they're kind of inverses, right? So if Aussie dollar melts, then pound Aussie would rise, because we're basically looking for Aussie strength here, right? So if it shorts, if Aussie starts slipping, then pound Aussie will go higher, and that's not going to work out for us. So I got us to get out of Aussie dollar just because it came up here and it looked like it was going to pull back up, especially since the dollar was very weak, and it actually had even negative, core durable negative fundamentals this morning. Durable goods came out at negative 14.4%, and actually core durable goods came out better than expected. That's actually not bad. So based on that bias, I was thinking, okay, Aussie dollar should continue its uptrend, and it has resumed it a bit, but now it's consolidating. So that's why we cut the bleeding short, at least for the traders. But if you look on the Discord, I actually held this trade as well, to the first take profit, because I knew better, right? But I can't have that kind of risk with our members. I always think about the members first, and that's just the way it is. So this was a trade that was closed near entry, and for some members actually kept the trade, so that's awesome. Here we go. We have one of the traders here says he actually held on to the trade, which is awesome. So we actually do want people to hold trades. See, he said he sees a nice double top, I believe, and he actually held on to the trade. So that's all good. It's all about trader anatomy and understanding how to trade on your own. But I'm there to give you guidance. For anyone on YouTube, I have not forgotten about you. Send in your pair recommendations, and I'll go through the trades that you want to trade. Can you give your thoughts on Euro NZD? Sure. Yeah. Good morning to everyone. Yep. Hope you guys are well as well. Okay. So Euro NZD. So a very clean price action. Now, let's just check the date here. This was 21st. So at the start, maybe this was Tuesday. Tuesday we were looking for longs for Euro NZD as price was pushing up to this resistance. Now you can see literally this resistance has provided a pretty good trade setup. Just coming off it, nice rejection and a short down, and then the support came in pretty clutch too. Very solid support, a rally here, and a rally here. So this is probably the textbook setup. Surprised we didn't take advantage of this. But we were looking for longs, right? Because we knew the New Zealand dollar was the one struggling the most against the USD. So based on that premise, we were thinking the euro might gain at least in the short term, and that idea never got activated. Now, Euro NZD, I think this is a perfect time to actually enter long to go back up to the upside. We've printed some hammers, which kind of gave us some entry points right here. And we're actually getting a retrace right now on the 4-hour time frame. So, a long wouldn't be bad in terms of R2R. And I think that's the most important factor when deciding to enter a trade, is if a move has happened, how effective is the R2R? And still 2.17, so it's not bad. I don't enter trades on Fridays unless they're scalps, but I really don't even enter trades on Sunday, to be honest. So if you do enter trades on Sundays or Fridays, by all means, maybe look for. Right now is not a bad time to enter because it is pulling back. We actually zoom in here. We'll see where it's pulling back to. So you can see it actually made some resistance on the 1-hour time frame right here, and it's actually just pulling back. It'll probably retest it, and so what you'll do probably Sunday is wait for this retest, and then just wait for a rejection to the upside. Maybe a bullish engulfing, 3-soldier pattern, inside bar. You know the deal. Any bullish reversal or continuation off this level will be perfect to go long, and this could be pretty decent. Even though the Eurozone had a terrible week in terms of fundamentals, the German business climate came out negative today early morning, and I was actually looking at it. Euro dropped in and out very quickly, and then we had PMI come out very, very bad all across the board yesterday. So definitely a struggling week, but I think Euro NZD is past that now, as looking to go long. So you can see right now as we speak, it's doing that retrace, which is fine. Now we'll be looking for maybe just a push back up, a rejection off 1.79955. So just 1.80 thousand would be perfect. A nice psychological level to take us higher. And you can probably take profits every 25 to 30 pips. If for some reason on Sunday I think this is a really good entry, then I'll probably call this signal and enter the trade myself. But this is probably the first area you'd probably watch out for. Just the support right here at 1.8523, around 50 pips away. And then next up, a nice intermediate level would probably be right here. So TP1, TP2, and then the final take profit up here. So we'll see, but pretty nice price action on the 1-hour time frame, considering the news filled week we've had. Nice solid range. That's actually perfect. That's a textbook range. So that's Euro NZD. Thank you for that recommendation, Alex. Your take on gold and Euro NZD. So Euro NZD, perfect. Killed two birds with one stone. Gold, we took the long. I'm thinking it's going to go back down to 1710. You can see right now it is pouring on its way to 1710. And I think that's where it's going to be going. It was actually a potential to short. I mean, it's created a 1, 2, a 4 top, a quadra top for those that trade double tops. But yeah, resistance. That's all it is. Price action resistance. We were long, and I had a small runner, and I don't think I've ever hedged my trade, so I don't like going in the opposite direction. But you can see, if you just saw this on your chart early London session, you could have taken a short. But I think 1710 is probably the place it will go to. I'm gonna remove the long idea just since that's probably done with, and most of us had our stops in profit. Now looking at just the overall price action, you can see 1710 has been pretty important. So obviously, if you're not in the short, no point of entering now. What I'd wait for is maybe the potential long from this level again. And you can see it's been of great deal of importance. I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 potential rallies of varying heights, but nonetheless different bullish reactions, right? And that's opportunities for us to take. And so I'd probably wait for us to come back down here and then see what happens. If it's on a Friday, I'd probably pass because things get pretty spooky near the 5 o'clock closure and spreads get crazy. I think I've seen spreads hit 400 last week, so I would advise that. Even maybe Sunday, I'd probably wait, but Monday morning, we'll see during the session if we can take a long back to maybe 1726 and then maybe 1736. All night. I had to back test in live conditions, so just working on some things. Jamie, we do have a position size calculator. We will definitely look into maybe adding a risk position calculator as well. It's very simple. Just try to aim for 1%. If you're a veteran and you know what you're doing, 2% is fine, but 1% is our recommendation pretty much always. And pair recommendations, let's go through them really quickly. At this point, send in the pair recommendations while I go over some of the key players. So Euro USD, what a crazy morning. So this was the move that happened early London session after the German business climate came out worse than expected, 74.3, and we had a significant fallout. And then what happened was it pulled back, and then we had USD core durable goods come out 4 hours later, pretty bearish, and this thing just pulled back right up. So not really the most cleanest moves for Euro USD. A lot of indecisiveness, and we'll go over which pairs show that. But this week, I mean, if we head to the 4 hour on the daily, we broke this significant range right here, and we dropped down. We pulled back up, and we're trying to re-enter back in this range. So Euro is supposed to go lower, but I don't know. It doesn't feel like it wants to, even though EU and the UK, Europe, and the United Kingdom had pretty uneventful talks in terms of Brexit. So that's also supposed to add insult to injury, but for some reason, Euro USD is still chucking on and not melting all the way through. We have a target of 1.6800 in the near term, and it just did not want to budge. So next week I'll probably just be looking for continuation shorts. If we do pop above this level, the common theme is longs, so we'll take advantage of that. Next up, pound dollar. So another trade we were waiting to enter this week, but no entry came. Again, we were waiting for a 4 hour closure. Our alert is still here, 1.22562. We wanted a closure below 1.22500. That never happened, and honestly, it didn't do much this week other than float back up and be stuck in this range. Now, this was pretty much a week for scalpers or people that trade some of the minor pairs like Euro NZD, but this thing really didn't do much. I mean, it's actually shocking how slow this week was in terms of direction. Everything was showing mixed biases. even though it was showing indications of a buy or long. So since 22nd to now, it's been stuck in between this level and this level with periodic moves to the upside, but then it comes back down in this level. So a lot of fake outs. That's why we tend to trade the 4-hour. But even then, this is just pretty mixed price action if you ask me. So right now, if you were to ask me to give you a setup for GU, the best thing I can do, and the best thing anyone can do, is just wait for this to come here, look for longs, because that's what it's respecting right now, and that'd be the case. Even when we break this intraday level like we did here, we pull back within it. So for some reason, GU just wants to consolidate, and it's not like the past few weeks. I think the start of April we had very clean, decisive moves like these right here, very clean, sharp moves down. This is more consolidated. Another thing that was consolidating this week was USD yen, and we had an intraday trade for this short. You can see just how consolidated it has been. So since the 15th of April, this thing has been stuck in between this box. It's probably spent, I think, 95% of this time in between this box, and it's only a range of 60 pips. It's a 60 pip range, and it's been stuck in it. And so this week, I called a potential short from here. We had to get out because we were in gold, but gold ended up playing out anyways. You can see just the overall pattern. So if someone were to ask me right now, where do I think UJ is going, I'd say probably go here, wait for a bullish reaction like we have in the past. Either a huge candle like this, but this was news driven, by the way. Candle like this is a bullish hammer, which is perfect, or just a nice bullish engulfing, and then take the long back up to here. So a lot of consolidation, indecisiveness, even USD CAD. If you look at that, this thing finally started moving near the end of the week to go long. And during yesterday's session, I wanted to give a long. I plotted a long idea. We were gonna wait for the hour closure, but this thing already jumped into profit, and I couldn't give it, and it ended up playing out pretty much to the T, perfectly. But so a lot of the opportunities we had on table either didn't play out, they didn't get activated, or they did get activated but ran too deep into our R2R. But that's the type of a week it was. So hopefully next week is a bit better. I know it's a fundamental week, so a lot of things consolidate before the release. But next week looks pretty okay. I'm not gonna say better, but we have a lot of monetary policy stuff. That's why I would say it's not just better. It'd be a bit cleaner, because monetary policy is already assumed. I don't think anyone's increasing rates at this time. It's more rate cutting or keeping it the same due to COVID-19. And so with that being said, I think it should be a bit more smooth flowing. Now, while I go through the fundamental schedule for next week, just send in your pair recommendations. Let me know. Hey, you think Euro is sells? KJ says he thinks Euro is sells. I think so too. That Eurozone was struggling even before the pandemic, and now with the pandemic, especially with like Italy struggling the way it has been, I think it should continue to go lower. But the dollar isn't doing any better, and they just keep pumping out stimulus package after stimulus package. I think they recently passed a 450 billion one just yesterday, so pretty crazy. So yeah, we have a lot of Bank of Japan monetary policy stuff next week. Consumer confidence will be pretty important. It's already at negative 34 forecast, which makes sense. Wednesday, advanced GDP and FOMC, so we know the federal funds rate. This can be important. So we have Japan monetary policy, the U.S. monetary policy next week, and I believe we also have Canadian. We have Euro monetary policy next week. That's 3 big monetary policy statements, and manufacturing. So crazy week ahead, but monetary policy weeks tend to be a bit better as information is kind of known, whereas fundamental releases like manufacturing, it could surprise anybody. So that will be the indication of a pretty volatile but less consolidated week. Hopefully that's what I think so. And user requested TA USD CHF. The stream should be good. Please let me know. USD CHF, BTC, and Ethereum. Cool. crypto buddy wants crypto done for sure. So we'll do USD CHF, get Forex out of the way, get boring Forex out of the way. Just kidding. Hello Forex, and let's see. So I think this is a clean chart, and that's great. So we'll quickly do a clean chart. I think for USD CHF, the monthly is perfect to start. So we're just going to quickly draw our resistance zone right here. Pretty solid, and our support zone down here, just covering these ranges. And back in March, this March candle snapped all the way to the bottom of the zone. And since then, we've kind of floated above it. We haven't really made any attempt to fill this wick. Now, this is your traditional indecision candle. So either way, it's a coin toss of whether USD CHF goes up or down. It's a 50-50% chance. If it was a bearish hammer or a bullish hammer like these two, then we'd have a long. But since it's an indecision candle, we'd have to wait for further price action to confirm. Now, you kind of see there's a intermediate support here on the weekly time frame. You can see identified by these wicks, right? Previous rallies from here, and that's where we're currently staying above. So based on that, I'm looking for longs, just in the long term. And we can see the price action. That's pretty ugly on the weekly time frame. We had USD CHF pop up above support, then we had an equal candle to the downside, then we had a candle to the upside, and then it's kind of just mangled up. So definitely in a confusing spot, and this makes sense as the Swiss franc is a safe haven, but the dollar is also a safe haven. And so during this, COVID-19 fiasco, they're probably going to just be in a tug of war, kind of like what Euro USD is doing right now, and no real direction on the weekly. We do have some resistance here, which we could probably target if we do find longs. So I'm going to identify that, and then we'll head to the daily. And we'll see. So on the daily, you can see what has happened over the course of the past few days. Coming off this resistance near 0.98867, just pulling back, you can see here. Since then, we've kind of did a small rally back to support. Came off our support, very important support. And then we tried to make an attempt to go back to resistance. We couldn't. And since then, we've pulled back and tried once again. So now this is the 4-hour/daily support that we have right here. Now, my opinion is that as long as we stay below this daily support, we should be looking for shorts. If we do break above, we'll probably have an intraday setup from here all the way to here. All right, that makes sense. Going to the 4-hour, let's see if it's a short. In the 4-hour, you can kind of see why it might be a short idea. So if we just target this range all the way to the bottom, now we have our short bias, right? And so we do have a pretty decent reaction off this level, a nice inverted hammer, which should suggest a push down. Now, if we look for any intermediate support, we can probably get a good entry. I'm just looking somewhere around here would be probably nice. Let's see, prices went down as far as here, but pushed back. Now let's identify that as our support and see why that happened. So here we go. Now it makes sense. Now this place where it pulled back from has been a previous resistance here, over here, over here, and over here. So now we get it why it's pulled back from this level. Okay, so now we have our bias. Now we know what level we need to break to get an entry. We're currently on the 4-hour time frame. So basically any closure below this level in the 4-hour time frame that is bearish, and I'm not talking about a bearish hammer like this or even like a candle like this one. I'm talking something like this with a huge body, very long way to the top, small way to the bottom, or just a big bodied bearish candle like these two. So we'd want that below to take us to from here all the way to potentially here, and that'd be the setup for USD CHF. So hopefully I'm piecing that together and it makes sense to you. And then our stop loss can be very, very tight. We'll just have it in the middle between this range and this range. So in case we do pop back above this level, we are more than likely to go back to resistance, and we'll cut the bleeding short. So 2.75, first take profit would be where the wicks have accumulated when we sell off, and that'd probably be down here. You can see whenever we broke this level, this is the level where we kind of struggled, made a retracement. So the first take profit would be at 0.96879, And this is USD CHF, so it doesn't move too much per pip, but nonetheless, that's the first TP. The next TP would be down here. You can see a pretty significant support has developed at 0.96500, and then finally 0.95976, or just 0.96000 will be the final take profit. So TP1, TP2, TP3. Stop loss is only 40 pips, so that's not bad. This could be a setup we can explore on Monday during our session. So I'll put an alert in case you do trade Sundays, and then you can take this trade. Crossing down at 0.97209 is where I'm going to put my alert. And the 4-hour closure is very important. So I'll save this. I'll send it through to members on Discord. Thank you for that question. Stream is holding. Okay, good. Cool. Pound CHF and pound CAD. Let's give that a look. And so pound CHF, here we go. So this was a short setup given on 17th of April. Is that a Friday? I believe that is a Friday. Yes, it is. That was last Friday. So last Friday, someone asked for this pair, and I gave a short setup, and it played out this week. Now, I won't use this in the pip count because I didn't take this trade, but this setup was given, and it played out perfectly. A nice simple short. I think it was you, Marco, or I mean Serge, or someone, but someone who trades pounds all the time has asked for this pair recommendation, and I said a simple 4-hour closure below would be good to go, and we got a break below an inverted hammer, which is the candle we wanted, and we had a nice significant sell-off. I mean, this is a deep move right here. Oops, a very nice move nonetheless. So my bias is just the same as the one we just took because the same price action. Wow, I'm surprised we didn't. Well, I didn't enter this trade. Probably would have made my week better. Nonetheless, we have the same thing going on. I mean, it's pretty much the same thing. It's pulled back to that same support it broke. It's rejecting it now. All we need to do is wait for this 4-hour candle or any other 4-hour candle in the future to close bearish back below this kind of intermediate support. You can see this intermediate support right here, where we're kind of just holding ground. If it can close bearish like this, then you know it's probably the most likely scenario where we go down to here. We've done that in the past here in all in one go here, or it takes multiple candles, maybe it takes 3-4 candles, but we do end up getting there. So that's my plan for pound CHF next week. So wait for either this 4-hour candle or the one Sunday. Just any future 4-hour candle needs to close below 1.20240. Okay, 1.20240, and it should take us down lower. And the R2R, since we're trading from a break of a level, it can be very nice. So the stop loss will be in the middle between the previous range, which is from here to here, and our take profit will be all the way down here. So a 2.24 R2R setup for pound CHF, mimicking the one we had to the left in the past. That was called last Friday. So this played out perfectly, all in one candle. Maybe we have the same case this time around as well. So that's also awesome. Put an alert. I think maybe since I didn't put an alert, I didn't get to enter. But my alert's going to be at 1.2119 crossing down, and the 4-hour closure is going to be important for pound CHF. Okay, GBP CAD. Let's take a look. Now, I know the CAD was pretty weak this week. Let's see if it was. And yeah, it didn't really do much. So, especially with a daily, this kind of mimics pound Aussie. Pound Aussie type beat. This is right here. So I'm just going to remove some of these lines. These actually take profit levels from our past analysis. So my fault, but there you go. So you can see the idea for pound CAD, right? We kind of came off this resistance. Since then we've broken this kind of intermediate support. Although the break wasn't a perfect candle, it was actually an indecision candle, equal to the top and bottom. So that's why it's a coin toss of whether it goes lower or not. Now on the 4-hour time frame, we'll go at that in a bit. But you can see we've kind of created support here, and any break of that support should take us down to this next level. It's just simple arithmetic. simple logic, right? We should go there because this is the kind of trend shift we've entered. We're starting to make lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, and so it's fine if we make a new lower high, but as long as we break this previous low, we should go down here, and that's where we're looking for shorts. So support is support until it isn't, right? So on the 4-hour time frame, you can see that breach of the intermediate support down here. We came here, and the candles printed. This was an indecision candle, right? Equal to the top and bottom. That's why you didn't have a significant sell-off. If it was a candle like this one, for example, or even like this one, to a lesser degree, this would be perfect. Very big body. There's a wick to the top, but no wick to the bottom. This is perfect. So if we had that here, I'm pretty sure pound CAD will be down here. But we had an indecision candle, and that's why we consolidated since the 23rd. For the past day and a half, we're just consolidating here. And so any break of this on the 4-hour time frame, because it's a pound, we want a nice bearish closure, and then we should go lower. So that's my opinion for pound CAD. I wouldn't be really looking for reversals. That's not really my forte. I want the high probable setups and the big moves. And that's only going to happen if you trade with the trend. Now, we could have an extended mini bull run like this one right here. So you could have like something like this happen, you know, like extended mini bull run before we head lower. Okay, we've kind of done that here in the past as well, to a lesser degree, but that could happen. So it's not always going to be a very clear, you know, like this type of movement. It's not always going to be like that, right? Sometimes it might be a bit wonky. Sometimes it might even clear the previous high and then drop some, right? It can very well happen. For example, bearish continuation flag patterns. They do that from time to time. So that's my bias for pound CAD shorts. We'll see how it goes. But I think USD CHF and pound CHF looks more promising for shorts, and they're actually correlated in that way. The CAD is very weak, and so that's why I don't think this thing slipped. And so I wouldn't put my money for the CAD being strong next week. Alright, perfect. Now let me look at BTC. And then I'll give out the 50% off coupon code and any other last minute pair recommendation. So BTC, really quickly, I mean, this thing is pretty easy to read in terms of technicals. If you just follow the arrows, they were pretty much drawn before the fact, especially this recent one we drew. So BTC is coming to our retracement zone right here. We caught this short, actually. We called this short, and then I told you guys that, you know, at this point in time, we're going to go to this retracement area, this red circle around 8,000, and that is where we should look for rejections to go lower, with a target of 4,000 and 3,000, and then maybe 2,500. If we don't get a rejection here, then we probably get a rejection at this trend line. This simple trend line has been giving trade after trade after trade for BTC, so it does mean something to it, and the retracement is just the 50 fib level. If we just take that out, it's a nice psychological level as well for BTC. So it was I drew it here, I believe, in the past. Yeah, so here, and the 50 fib level is right around here. In between the 50 and 61.8 fib level is perfect. So that's where I think BTC is headed. Miniature rally to 8,000 is probably the short-term bias. Now, Ethereum, I don't really look at it, but let's take a look. Definitely not as established as BTC, but they're very correlated. So, I mean, this looks like a long to me. Just off the support it's coming off of, but I'd be careful. It is approaching some new highs and also a trend line on the smaller time frame. So if we go on the smaller time frame, kind of see this trend line it's approaching. So it could make a rally back up to maybe 247 or 250 will be a nice psychological level, but I'm bearish on crypto for pretty much the remainder of the year, and that includes BTC and Ethereum as well. So I think it's a nice long. If you're holding Ethereum in your wallet, then by all means hold it till I think 250, and at that point I think you might see it start to reverse back down, but it's still in the downtrend nonetheless. This support back in March came pretty clutch, right at 100. So that's Ethereum. For those that are for I'm long on BTC. My fault, man. So for those that are interested in joining these sessions, not just the Monday and Friday ones, and you want to be a part of the Discord and get full access to just the user requested TA, Aussie NZD, I'll look at that. And you want to just get full access to our signals, institute trader. So we have a smart money trader who actually trades based on institutional concepts. These are concepts that are taught in banks. Now this isn't really public information, and he's been killing it, absolutely killing it. And if you want access to providers like him, Joe, Elliott Wave Analysis, and my stuff as well, to get access, all you have to do is join our Forex trading room. And to do that, you go to our website, forexlens.com, and then go to Forex trading room, click Get Started. Fill out this form, and then take advantage of our promotion. So our promotion will actually give you 50% off your first month. All you have to do is use coupon code FIRST50, and you will get all my signals, all my live sessions, plus Institute Trader, Pipsology, Elliott Wave Analysis. These are signal providers, and we've added actually 2 more. So we have Ichimoku signals, and then you have all the chart work that we send in. So if you look at the chart work here, we'll see what's happening. This is Trade Talks. Let me actually go to chart work. Here we go, majors analysis. So we have analysis for me. We have analysis in terms of Elliott Wave. Just amazing, right? This is the best way to learn how to trade and be the shot caller you want to be. And we do technical and fundamental analysis. All of that is there. If you want to see how members are doing, check out the game reviews section. We have members posting profits, including me and the traders that call the trades, just in case you want to see some validity. Now, that is the coupon code. Hopefully I see some new faces. I believe someone wanted me to look at Aussie NZD, which I'll give a nice look at. Where'd it go? Marco wanted Aussie NZD. So Aussie NZD, I took a scalp short 2 days ago, and if we look at it, we'll see 1 hour. Here we go. So the 1 hour, you can see the scalp where I took from here, this resistance, pretty solid. Now Aussie NZD is probably the pair that moves the most simplest, but it doesn't move at all because of the denomination. So you can see just how easy this thing moves. Just a nice breach above support, and this thing is rocketing. Probably one of the easier pairs to trade. I think Aussie NZD, USD CAD, CAD CHF, and USD CHF are probably the easiest pairs to trade because they respect key levels so well. So I have a long bias for Aussie NZD. If you look at the weekly time frame, it's cleared some weekly resistance, and this week's candle is a nice bullish hammer, very nice bullish hammer, which should tell me that it's continuing moving up. Now I think this week it's probably going to be a wash, as in there will probably be no entry, but what we can do is target this next set of resistance and look for a potential to go long. Last time around we had an inside bar pattern right here, and we had a nice push up, so we could maybe look for that pattern in and around this area, or just a simple break on the 1 hour or 4 hour time frame, and that will be good for Aussie NZD. So I think I'm going along for Aussie NZD, especially with Aussie dollar starting to melt. So the 4 hour time frame, you can kind of see the toll that that the weaker dollar has had, right? The weaker dollar let this rally start, and then it pulled back this morning with the mixed news, and then it started to receive ground again. So I think as long as the dollar continues to be weak and Aussie dollar continues to gain, Aussie NZD should gain. Now, if next week, Trump says the right things, or the monetary policy at the Fed, if Jerome Powell at the Fed's rate says some good things about the economy or about it reopening, then you should see Aussie NZD fall, as Aussie dollar will fall as a result, right? And so for longs, I'm just going to be looking for next week, since the week is pretty much done, for a 4 hour closure above 1.06500, and we can take it long all the way to 1.07700. So that's what we're looking for. I think not right now, there's nothing really to trade unless you're a scalper. Maybe you can look for some rejection up here, but we are a bit of a way to go. So that's my opinion for Aussie NZD longs nonetheless. I do want to look at one more thing before we head out. US oil, We are approaching an hour for this session, so any other questions, just ask them on Discord, and I'll get to them. U.S. oil. Interesting. Okay, cool. So negative prices down here, or just short of negative, at least for this broker. Huge gap up when all the countries stockpiled. Look at this huge gap. And since then, it's been just relaxing. So oil got bailed out by all the major nations. China's storing oil. U.S. reserves are filled to the top, and that's what was expected. So, wow. That's probably the biggest gap I've ever seen in the markets, other than the flash crash for the Swiss. But that is that. What is the role of individual currency index in trading Forex? That's a perfect question. You can ask this on Discord. I can give you a more detailed response. But the dollar index, for example, the dollar index is a culmination of all the major pairs against the dollar, and it basically summarizes how the dollar is doing against all the currency pairs. And so right now the dollar is in an uptrend, a very clear uptrend. So you should see dollar strength next week in terms of technicals. Very clean uptrend, right? We could actually might see a minor pullback to this trend line and then up. So that's the correlation, right? So if the dollar index continues to go up, Euro USD will melt, NZD USD melts, Aussie dollar melts. It's not a cause and effect, but it's more so a bi-directional association. So dollar index goes up, guess what? Euro USD and all the majors will go down, including gold. Dollar index goes down, then USD yen will go down, gold will go up, euro will go up, etc. So that is that. Any other questions that I might have left off, I'll probably answer on Discord, just since we're pushing an hour. And that is that. So obviously, we were due for a week like this, but we had a 16 trade